Alright, hello and welcome to the reacting to my EFL 2021-2022 Championship predictions. It's gonna be interesting, and we'll put it as interesting because it's notorious really. Championship is one of the hardest leagues to try and predict, and I'm hoping I've got some right. Some would be better than none. Let me tell you that much. Some would definitely be better than none. Just a disclaimer as well before we get into it. I'll be uploading the rest of the predictions this week. This will be recorded and uploaded on the Wednesday. I'll probably record all of them today, but it'll be uploaded Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Championship Wednesday, League One Thursday, League Two Friday. It doesn't take a genius to work out. Then Saturday will be In Your House NXT predictions, and Sunday will be Hell in a Cell predictions. And on Monday, I'm going to be bringing a new series to the table. I'm not going to give any details on it just yet, but I'm sure that, well, some of you will like it, some of you won't. So it is FIFA related. I'll give that as a hint. It is FIFA related. That's all you're getting. So anyway, without any further ado, I just need to bring the table up and make sure everything is working correctly, which it is. I just need to bring the table up and we shall dive into these and see where we're at, kind of thing. My phone is bugging out. It likes to do this. It really does. It really enjoys just not working properly. So give me a moment. Bear with me. Right, sorted. So we're starting off with Bournemouth. Now this was a team that I predicted to finish fourth place in the playoff spots, but win the playoff spots. They finished second and got the second automatic promotion spot. So I wasn't far off. I wasn't too far off with my guess. Just as a disclaimer as well, another one. I don't really watch the Championship or League One or League Two. There's only a few certain teams I pay attention to. So if my ball knowledge doesn't seem like it's very ball knowledgeable, then it isn't, pretty much. But regardless, yeah, I put Bournemouth as fourth. I did expect them to win the playoffs, and they've exceeded that. They're very strong all year. They were always going to be second best behind a team like Fulham, but in the end, Fulham did fall off the top of it, and they only finished 2 points clear. We'll get to Fulham very, very soon, though. But Bournemouth, absolutely brilliant season in the Championship. Of course, some big results, and of course, Solanke hitting form. Dominic Solanke is always one that people said, oh, he's not going to be great, or he's not going to do it, but he did. I think he got 20 goals, 29 goals. I don't remember exactly. 29 goals in the Championship. So fair play to him. Hopefully he can replicate that in the Premier League. If he can, Bournemouth survive quite comfortably. But it might be a challenging season. But Bournemouth back in the Premier League. Second place, 88 points. What a season for them. This probably will be shorter than the Premier League reactions video because, like I said, I don't know as much about the lower English leagues. So Barnsley. Now this is one I may have had a disaster class with. After last season, Barnsley got into the playoffs after everyone expected them to finish down the bottom of the table. Barnsley absolutely exceeding everyone's expectations last year. I thought they'd drop off a bit. I thought they'd just fall down to mid-table. I predicted 12th for them. I thought it'd just calm in the top half of the table, just have a nice mid-table season. Nowhere near the heights of the 2021 season, but still up in the top half. They finished bottom, and they finished bottom below a Derby team that had countless point deductions, and it just amazes me. I think I'm just going to try to work out the maths here. In the end, Derby had 21 points taken off their total, and they still finished above Barnsley. That is an awful season. I forget the nicknames. I want to say the Terriers, but that's not Barnsley. I just realised it's Huddersfield. I don't remember any Championship nicknames. But regardless, Barnsley, disaster class of a season. 28 losses, only 33 goals scored. It pales in comparison to the previous season. I don't know how they managed to fall off a cliff like that. And, I mean, squad depth was always an issue at Barnsley. There was never a lot of squad depth, which is why I moved them down a little bit. I thought they're not going to get to that position because they didn't sign a lot of talent in the summer. And then I thought maybe they'll just fall a bit. But they didn't just fall a bit, they fell all the way down the table into League One. And I'm going to be honest, I don't see them coming straight back up. We'll obviously get to those predictions in August that I'm going to predict. But I don't see them coming straight back up, to be honest. And it's a torrid season after I mean, it's just surprising. They've only won 6 games. You can't, like I said in the Premier League one, you have to win double figures in order to stay up. And in the Championship, that's even more important because there's 46 games. But 6 wins, it's not good enough form, and 28 losses. Barnsley go down with a meagre 30 points. Unfortunate for them, I was 12 places off for that one. Let's get on to Birmingham City. Now, this is a team who, they were in the Premier League for a while. They did well in the Premier League. They've gone down to the Championship, and they've never really looked like going back up. And that is why I predicted them in 17th. And I thought it would be kind of a bottom of the table scrap, but it ended up being a relegation scrap for Birmingham for the majority of the season. They ended up clearing the relegation battle by 10 points, finishing in 20th. I was 3 places off. But they're a team that I thought maybe for a while would go back up to the Premier League, but they've just been falling further and further down the table. And they always seem to be in a relegation scrap each year. And one of these days, I think they're going to go down to League One. I don't know when it'll be, but not a great season for Birmingham, not a great season for Birmingham fans, but no relegation, another survival for the Blues in the Championship. Not much more to say than that, to be honest. I don't want this video as well to go as long as the Premier League reactions video, so I'm trying to, react a bit quicker kind of thing. Blackburn, now this is a tricky one. I thought 16th. I thought Brereton Diaz would have a good goal scoring season, but it wouldn't be enough to carry Blackburn to a good position. I said 16th, and they finished in... Where did they finish? They finished 8th, just outside of playoffs. I was way off. I underestimated Blackburn. At points, they looked very, very good, but at points, you could see they looked bad as well. It was just a mix of a season for Blackburn. 19 wins, 12 draws, 15 losses, 69 points, just 6 points off of playoffs. And it's just surprising, really. Brereton Diaz did get a lot of goals, but there's goals pitching in from everywhere else as well. And I maybe should have expected a little more from Blackburn. They're another team I want to see back in the Premier League at some point. Former Premier League champions, of course. But I very much underestimated them, and some of these picks are going to look awful by the end of this video, by the way. There's absolutely no way any of these are going to look brilliant. But Blackburn, I'm sorry, absolutely exceeded my expectations. Very close to playoffs, and not quite making it. But, there's potential there. They'll either... I see Blackburn either going up next year or finishing where I predicted them this year. There's going to be no in between, I don't think. I think it's got to be Blackburn soon if it's not next season. But I don't know. 8th place, I was 8 off. I apologise to any Blackburn fans watching. Up next is Blackpool, and I had them pinned for relegation. I said 22nd. I don't think I was the only person who decided Blackpool are going straight back down. Not great squad depth, not a great amount of money to do much with. Former Premier League team as well. You have to think about the former Premier League team. I wanted them to go back up to the Premier League. I know I put them as relegation, but I do want to see them back in the Premier League again. They're one of those unlikely teams that you like seeing in the Premier League, and obviously not going to get it next season. They finished 16th, which is where I predicted Blackburn. I just got the wrong black team. That sounds really weird. I don't mean it like that. But anyway, continuing on swiftly. Blackpool, thought they would get relegated. I thought they finished 22nd. I thought they would just get relegated, but I thought it would be relegation straight back down to League One. Blackpool, in my opinion, overdid everyone's expectations. There'll be a lot of people who predicted the Championship and predicted Blackpool either bottom of the table, or not bottom of the table, relegation zone, or down in that area. And I've been proven wrong, and it's fair enough. I can't lie. Fair enough for Blackpool. And you just have to think, can you do it again? It might be like a Barnsley story where they exceed everyone's expectations and go down the next season. I don't know if Blackpool still have a lot of money to work with. Like I said, I don't really follow lower league clubs. I'll try and follow more just to get more info for next year. Blackpool, I'm sorry for any Blackpool fans now. I'm going to be apologising to a lot of clubs fans, but I expected relegation. You exceeded my expectations. 16th place. I was 6 off. But it's like more than that because I expected them to go down and they didn't. So fair play, Blackpool. Bristol City. These are a middle of the pack table team. I don't see them going up anytime soon. I don't see them going down anytime soon. I think they're going to be just comfy in the Championship for years to come. And that is why I predicted them 14th. I thought they were just going to finish bottom half, kind of just over the relegation zone, but not break into the top half. They don't have that quality, in my opinion. And I was right, but I was also wrong. I was 3 places off their actual position. They finished 17th in the Championship this season. Another middle of the run Championship season, but they finished below Blackpool, who a lot of people expected to get relegated. There needs to be improvement, I think, for Bristol City. I don't think they'll be a Premier League outfit anytime soon, but they do have the potential, in my opinion, to get into that top half of the Championship. Maybe even fight for playoffs. They did fight for playoffs a few years ago, I believe. But realistically, it was always going to be just a middle-of-the-road season for the Robins, and they've proven me right by finishing 17th. So far, I've got 0 correct predictions. Let's see if that changes with Cardiff. Where did I put Cardiff? I am an idiot. I always see Cardiff as a team that will fight to get in the Premier League, because they've been in the Premier League before, of course. And I always see them just always a bridesmaid, never the bride in terms of promotion. I predicted them 7th. I thought they would fight for getting into the playoffs, but fall short. And I mean, they fell short. That's about all I got right. They finished 18th place. Now Cardiff is a team that I don't know what's going on with them. I always think, oh, they'll get into that fight, and then they just disappoint. And I've seen people predict them for relegation next year. I know people have done some earlier predictions, predict for relegation next year, and I mean, they're just going downhill. I think the past few seasons have just been going further and further down, and I don't know if they have the strength, I don't know if they have the squad depth to get back up, because I would like to see them in the Premier League again. But it's been a while since a Welsh team was in the Premier League, and it looks like it'll even be longer. Cardiff, underwhelming, in my opinion. But there'll be people. I think I've seen people this year who predict them to be in the bottom half, which is maybe a more realistic prediction. They don't have a lot of squad depth. They're another team that needs to try and build their squad up a bit more, and maybe they will get into that playoff fight. But for now, it's an 18th place. I put 7th. I am 11 positions off. This has been a disaster class. I'm going to start watching more lower league football to try and, get involved with some predictions and maybe show some ball knowledge with some of these predictions. Coventry City. I said another contentious one. I think I put them bottom half. Let me just get the 18th. I predicted them 18th, and they finished 12th. So it was a mid-table season, but they had some big victories this season. I believe they took points off Fulham in both fixtures from memory, and maybe it was definitely one of the fixtures, but maybe both fixtures. A surprise package a little bit, because I did expect them to not be dragged into a relegation battle, but just be above that kind of relegation zone, just surviving. I'd give them maybe like a 12 to 15 point gap above the relegation zone, like a comfortable safety. But bottom half, they scraped top half, 12th place. Only just on goal difference did they get the top half of the table, but that's a very good finish for Coventry. And honestly, they're another team I could see potentially coming back up to the Premier League in the next few years. They could do it. They've got the quality. They just need to build on it, which is something that I've seen them doing. And I was wrong again. I'm going to be wrong a lot this video. 6 places off. I said 18th. They finished 12th. On to Derby. Now, this was always going to be a difficult one. They were blighted with, of course, financial problems at the start of the season. They were blighted with stuff going on involving Wayne Rooney, all the commotion around him. And they did have that minus 21 point start, 21 points deduction. I don't think they started on minus 21 points, but throughout the season, they ended up being deducted 21 points in total, did the Rams. And I predicted them to finish rock bottom, which granted they should have done, which they absolutely should have done. They should have finished bottom. But they had a very good season, despite all the circumstances. 14 wins, 13 draws, 19 losses. But the problem is, with those points deductions, they are going down. So I was 1 place off. I did predict relegation, but I think everyone in the dog predicted relegation for Derby County. Unfortunately, a team that has been suffering financial problems. I think they're still going through financial problems. But if they can solve those problems, I see them returning to the Championship. They're too good for League One. And that is proven, because if you take a look at this table here, obviously I'm taking a look at the table, you guys can't see it. They would have finished on 55 points had the deductions not come into play, which would have kept them. It wouldn't have been a brilliant season in terms of if you wanted to get promoted, but they would have been healthily safe. They would have finished 17th or maybe 18th, around the Bristol City Cardiff mark. They have 55 points, but we wouldn't have known what the goal difference was. If I was basing off the goal difference they have, they would have finished 17th above Bristol City, but because, of course, those point deductions, 23rd, going down to League One. They're a team with quality. It's just the finances. They need to get it sorted, and they can come back up, and hopefully we'll see them back in the Championship after winning League One or get promoted from League One, but we will see on that. I said 24th. They finished 23rd. Somehow didn't finish bottom. Barnsley were I don't know what to say about Barnsley really, but Derby able to not finish bottom, but still finish in the relegation zone. That's unfortunate. 7 points off safety. Let's move on to Fulham. Fulham, the first one I actually got right. Let's fucking go. I mean, it was a very predictable one as well, but yes, I finally got Fulham right. They have had quality all over the pitch. I believe they've had 3 7-0 victories as well on the way up to the Premier League again. Did they score more than 100 goals in the end? They did. They scored 106 goals. Fulham back in the Premier League. Are we surprised? They've been yo-yoing the past few seasons and once again back into the Premier League. But will they survive? That's a prediction for next season. Alexander Mitrovic, that is the name that Fulham fans will be chanting. They'll have a statue of him if he can replicate what he did in the Championship. I believe it was either 41 or 43 goals, the highest Championship goal scorer in the history of the EFL Championship by a long way. I believe the next was 31. I don't remember who it was, but it was like 31, 32 kind of area. And Fulham absolutely destroying league. They did have some slip-ups towards the end of the season. I did say that. They lost 10 in total. And the run of form towards the end meant that they maybe could have fallen off the top, but they did enough to get promotion. Realistically, could have been and probably should have been. Centurions should have got the 100 points, but they only got 90, 2 clear of Bournemouth, but it was enough to win the Championship and get back to the Premier League, once again avoiding a match with Norwich. But Fulham, I predicted them first. They finished first. I was considering putting them in a promotion spot at the start of the season. I do remember juggling them between first and second. I settled on first. I was right to Fulham. My first prediction right. Welcome back to the Premier League. Here's hoping you don't yo-yo again. On to Huddersfield. Oh, fuck off. Oh, fuck off. Right. I can explain. I can absolutely explain this one. Huddersfield. They have no squad depth. They have not a lot of funds to work with. And they finished, I believe, just above relegation in the 2021 season. A lot of people had them tipped for relegation. A lot of people put them in the relegation zone when I saw other predictions. Now, I didn't think they would go down, but I thought they would survive by a whisker. I think I said they'd survive by a ball head, just a very small amount of survival, maybe a few goals, maybe a couple points. I put them at 21st. It really was the squad depth and the lack of funds and the fact that they haven't built too much on said squad depth. They finished third. Now I don't quite know how they've done it. If you told me that anyone else doing Championship predictions had said, "Oh, the Huddersfield are going to finish third this year," I would have called you an outright, straight up liar. Huddersfield, they've defied all expectations, and I've got family who support Huddersfield, so if they watch this video, I apologise, but Jesus Christ, what a rise. And not only did they finish third, they got to the Championship playoff final, and honestly, maybe should have won it. Some decisions went against them on the day, but we'll cover the opponents later on when we get to them, but they had some decisions against them on the day. Probably should have had a penalty, maybe should have had 2 penalties. Unlucky on the final day. And I don't know if this is going to be a Barnsley story where they get into the playoffs and nearly win it, or if they build on that and then maybe get promotion to the Premier League. I would like to see them in the Premier League again. Don't get me wrong. Or if it's going to be a Barnsley story where they just capitulate. Because the Championship is so hard to predict. For example, I put Huddersfield 21st, surviving by the tiniest of margins. They finished third. I was 18 places off. That's nearly the whole damn table. I can't believe that. Fair play to Huddersfield, though. You can't fault it. That's a brilliant season from them. If they can build on it, they get the squad depth, Premier League next season. If they can't, I don't think they'll get relegated, but it won't look pretty. Hull City up next, the Tigers. Some people had these tipped for back-to-back promotions, but I wasn't believing in that. I wasn't as believing in Hull City. I put them at 20th. They'd survive relegation, maybe 5 or 6 points. I didn't think they'd go down. I thought they had enough to survive, and it turns out they did. Some of the players came out on loan with disappointing. I think there's a guy named Fors who was loaned in from Brentford. They thought he was going to score quite a few. He did score some, but probably not the amount that Hull wanted. They did get goals, though. They got enough goals to survive in the Championship. I was 1 place off, man. Hull City finishing 19th. I put them down in 20th. Not far off. I did say survival just about, and they did survive. It wasn't just about, it was a 10-point gap in the end. The relegation zone were quite adrift of the rest of the teams in the league, I'm not going to lie. It wasn't actually 10 points, it was 14 points. If I could read, it would be brilliant. But Hull do survive, and they march on in the Championship. Another team that I would maybe like to see in the Premier League once again. They were a very fun team in the Premier League, especially the one memory that sticks out is Phil Brown, the manager at the time, getting them all out, doing a half-time team talk around, they had them sat in a circle, half-time team talk on the pitch. It was bloody hilarious. That's the sticking out memory that I have from Hull, and it'd be good to see them in the Premier League once again. I don't think it'll happen for a while, but survival this season, maybe build on that next season. I was 1 place off, man. Right, Luton Town. Right. Can I say something before we get any further with this? Half the teams in the top half, no one predicted to be in the top half. And I'm not having it from anyone who thinks, oh, Luton were going to go up. Luton were going to make the playoffs. Absolutely not. I may have been very, very, very stupid putting them down in the bottom half of the table where I put them, and we'll get to that position in a second. I may have put them in a stupid position. Mid-table is probably more likely. I maybe should have thought about that more. But by no means did anyone predict playoffs for Luton Town Football Club. That being said, it's very good from them. They've exceeded everyone's expectations. They've had a phenomenal season. And they've got some phenomenal talents at that club. Elijah Adebayo, to name one. Him scoring the amount of goals he did to help propel Luton into the playoffs. And they only fell short to, was it Huddersfield they lost to, or was it Forest? I don't remember which team they played in the playoffs. That's awful memory from me. But Luton exceeding everyone's expectations, including my own. I put them 19th. I knew they'd survive. Another team that I knew they'd survive. By no means did I expect them to launch an assault on the playoff places. And as the season went on, I thought, oh my fucking god, I've absolutely bottled this one. And I thought maybe they'll go on a decline of form, maybe they'll fall out of the playoffs, but no, they held it steady, and they have reached the playoffs. Unfortunately not getting promoted, but there is a team there that is actually improving, and there's a squad that they can build on. And I wouldn't be surprised if I see them in the playoffs again next year, but that being said, we'll see my predictions next year to see if I stick to that. They'll be done in August, of course. But Luton Town are 13 places off. I'm sorry, Luton fans, and I know a couple of Luton fans who may watch this. Let's be real. Even the Luton fans didn't predict Luton to get into the playoffs today, so I'm not super sorry. Middlesbrough. Now, this is another bridesmaid, but not the bride story. I got this just wrong, but I got on the wrong side of wrong, if that makes sense. I put them in the playoffs. They didn't quite make it. 5 points off in the end. They're a team that you'd expect to make the playoffs with the players they have and the squad depth they have, as well as the money they have to improve on that squad depth. Middlesbrough probably should have made it into the playoffs. And they're another team that I would like to see. There's a lot of teams I'd like to see in the Premier League again. Middlesbrough being one of them as well to join that list. I put them in 6th. I didn't think they would win the playoffs. But I put them in 6th to compete in the playoffs. They finished 7th, just outside. It's one position off, but it's quite a big difference because playoffs mean you were good enough to potentially get promoted to the Premier League. 7th means you're just out of it. And they had a good season. They had some good players come in. I believe it was I'm awful with names, man. I need to pay more attention to the lower leagues of English football. But I think it's Sporar, their striker, had a decent season. I think they're going to sign him on a permanent. I'm not 100% sure on that. But they have the quality to get into the playoffs next season. And I probably will predict once again for playoffs next season. They'll probably disappoint me and finish 13th or something. But Middlesbrough are a team that are always just bordering on getting that promotion. I think next year they will do it. But we'll see if I stick to that again next season. Millwall. This is a difficult club to predict. This is a really difficult club to predict because you expect them to be up there, but not in the playoffs. It's another kind of. It's not. This is one of the ones I don't want to see in the Premier League. But we always seem to be up there, but never, there kind of thing. And it's a similar story this season. I predicted them eighth just to be up there, but not actually be in the playoffs. Guess who was one place off again? They finished ninth, and they finished ninth on goal difference by 1 goal. They finished ninth by 1 goal. I've missed out on a correct prediction by 1 goal. Oh, it's frustrating trying to predict the Championship. You're not wrong, anyone who has said that it's difficult. But Millwall finishing ninth. They're another team that do have the talent to push for playoffs. Whether they do that is another story, but they've been around the kind of top half of the table for a few years now. They just need to get into that next gear, sign some players that will help propel them up. Maybe bring some loan players in with some Premier League experience to propel them up to playoffs, possibly even promotion. But I think Norwich and Burnley and Watford will probably just go straight back up next season. I'm not going to lie to you. But Millwall definitely could get playoffs next season. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But another just below playoff season for Millwall. I'm a place off by a goal. I'm quite frankly raging. Okay, right. It's looking worse and worse as the video goes on. Nottingham Forest. Now, I predicted them 15th, but this was under the persuasion they still had Chris Hughton as manager for the whole season. All these predictions are based on the fact that they'll have the manager for the whole season. I need to maybe think about managerial changes, but I didn't think there'd be a managerial change that would impact any team as much as Nottingham Forest have been impacted by. Is it Steve Cooper? I think his name is. I know it's Cooper, but I can't remember his first name. But he has done a wonderful job. You remember at the start of the season, Nottingham Forest, I think it was the first 7 games, they lost all 7. Nearly adrift. I think they were adrift at Derby. I think this was before the points deductions came in. But adrift of everyone, rock bottom of the Championship. Sacked Chris Hughton, brought in Steve Cooper. What a turnaround from this team. Some players standing out. Jed Spence on loan from Middlesbrough. Why would you loan someone who could potentially be a rival? And it's turned out has been a rival. Jed Spence, a wonderful season from him. And of course, the Manchester United loan. It'd be a miss to not involve him. James Garner, what a performance from him this season. Maybe might even break into the United squad. We never know. But a brilliant performance from some players in that Forest squad. They just need a proven striker, in my opinion, and they maybe have one, but I don't remember any names that scream out to me as a proven striker. But yeah, I said 15th. I said middle of the pack. For a while, they could have got relegated, but they've gone from doomed to relegation to Premier League. And there was a point, I believe, in those predictions at the start of the season, I was thinking maybe they will get promoted. They have the players, but they don't. They don't have the manager, and that's what prevented me from putting them in a playoff spot. And it has come back to bite me on the arse, to be honest. If I had known that Chris Hughton would get sacked and Steve Cooper would come in and do the job he has done for this Nottingham Forest team, it would have been helpful at the start of the season, quite frankly. But the highlight is next season they'll go to Manchester City, they'll go to the Etihad, they'll go to the Emirates, and they'll start singing Champions of Europe, You'll Never Sing That. And that will be my highlight. I'll be watching Forest like a hawk in those games. Forest versus City, Forest versus Arsenal. Basically Forest versus anyone who hasn't won a Champions League. It would be such a fun season for Nottingham Forest next season. And I apologise for predicting 15th, but again, I think it's one of those other teams that nobody predicted to be in the playoffs because of the fact of the manager. And of course, Nottingham Forest, bit lucky in the playoff final. I did mention that when we were talking about Huddersfield, a bit lucky in the final to not have given away a penalty, and the goal was an own goal. But Nottingham Forest are in the Premier League, and it'll be interesting to see how they do. I don't remember the last time they were in the Premier League, but they're once again back in the top flight, which now means in the 2 teams in Nottingham, there's Nottingham Forest and of course Notts County, there is a 4-division gap. And that is mental. That is mental to think about. Peterborough up next, and I had absolutely no faith in these guys to survive. I had absolutely no faith in them at all. They're a team that have been yo-yoing between Championship and League One, and I think they'll continue to do that because I just never see them. They always seem to have enough in League One to get promoted, but they never seem to build their squad enough to survive in the Championship, and I don't know why. because they probably. I mean, I don't know what funds are working on. Obviously, there's funds on the screen for FIFA funds, but I don't know what funds have in real life. Maybe a couple more loan players. They could bring in loan players and try and get some ground out of the relegation zone. But they did get relegated. Of course, shocker. Who would have seen this one coming? I was one place off again. I predicted them to be 23rd. They finished 22nd. 4 points adrift of Reading. But I'm absolutely... The amount of... I think I should be given some points here for the amount I've got one place off. Because there's a bloody lot of them. There's a bloody lot of them that are one place off. And I'm getting quite frankly annoyed with it. But Peterborough didn't show the quality. Going down once again, the yo-yo club of the Championship and League One. It's like the Norwich and Fulham. Peterborough are, well, I mean, it doesn't really matter who's who, but Peterborough are one of them, and Rotherham are the other one. And we'll cover Rotherham, of course, when I do the League One predictions, which will be recorded straight after this, but uploaded tomorrow. So, Peterborough going down again, no surprise there. It's unfortunate for the Posh, but they'll probably just bounce back anyway. Preston North End. Oh my god, I got it right! I got it straight on! Thank God for Coventry for having a better goal difference. I got this exact, and I knew this because Preston always seem to be that kind of... They are the epitome, and no offence to Preston because they are the first league winners ever. But they are the epitome of mid-table in the Championship at the moment. I said 13th, they finished 13th. I thought they'd finish just bottom half. They have the quality to maybe break in the top half, but at the end of the season, they'll finish just in the bottom half. And it's exactly that. They finished 13th on goal difference. And I can't believe that I've got that one spot. And I believe I said as well, they'll finish 13th on goal difference. They'll be in the bottom half by goal difference. I don't know exactly. You can go back and look at the video, of course, if you want to. But Preston, I got it right. But they really need to get out of this rut mid-table. They really need to build on it. They always seem to be around that area. They always seem to be lower half. And I think that's probably just going to be the case for a lot more years, many more years to come. They never seem to build to a level that they can fight for playoffs, and they never seem to drop off to a level that they're going to get relegated. I'll probably predict them 13th next year, and they'll probably do it again. They are the epitome of mid-table in the Championship. I'm sorry, Preston fans. The truth hurts. QPR. Now, this is another contentious one. I didn't realise I put him... Okay, I didn't realise I put him in the playoffs. I thought I'd put him bordering, and I haven't. I've put them as 5th place. I thought it might be a surprise package, I think, at the start of the season. I'm trying to remember all what I said at the start of the season, but there was a surprise package, in my opinion. It must have been, if I put him 5th. I thought they would get into the playoffs, maybe, and make a return to the Premier League. Another team that I want to see back in the Premier League, QPR. They've shown over the years, they were down the bottom end of Championship for a little while. But over the past few years, they have built, and they are able to build more, in my opinion. I think they can build more, and I think they will make a return to the Premier League. But it isn't this season. They finished 11th, which is underwhelming, to be honest. I think they probably expected playoffs this year, and I expected playoffs for them this year. 11th place for QPR. Maybe disappointing, but underwhelming as well. I predicted better for them. 5 places off, and once again, I am wrong. I think I've got 2... or is it 3 correct predictions in this video? I can't remember. I will check if we're going... because I've got them written down here. I'm just going to check if we've gone through all the teams that I've got right yet. Oh, I only got 2 out of the whole league. Never mind. So I've got both my predictions correct. Reading up next. Now, this is another one that's a fucking shocker, to be quite honest. I always see Reading as a team... another one will fight in the top half. Maybe not get playoffs, but fight in the top half. To finish top half, fuck was I wrong. And I hate to say it, they probably should have been relegated. They probably should have been relegated based on their form this season, and they would have been had it not been for the points deduction for Derby. They finished 21st. They finished 4 points clear of the relegation zone. And like I said, if it wasn't for points deduction for Derby, Reading would be a League One team next year. I put them 10th. I thought they'd finish top half comfortably. They'd have the players. They do have the players to finish top half comfortably. But it's all gone wrong at Reading, and they've only been spared League One football by financial problems at Derby. And that, quite frankly, is a little bit embarrassing, isn't it, really, when you think about it? Reading, a team that had some good moments in the Premier League, provided some good fun in the Premier League. A team that I've seen in the Championship playoffs before, and they've always contended that top half. But in recent years, they did fall off last season as well, 2021 season. And I thought maybe they'll build back up, maybe they'll fight a bit more, not get playoffs, but go up the table a bit more to try and, just look a bit more strong. Maybe contend for playoffs, maybe get into that kind of area. 21st and survived relegation because of Derby having the points deduction. That is embarrassing, and I things don't change. They're a League One team at the end of next season. There's no points deductions from Derby to save them in the 2022-23 season. They need to fix up. That's all I'm saying. They need to fix up. Sheffield United, another contentious one here. It actually isn't as much of a nightmare for me as I thought it would be. I did, in the initial video, I predicted them to get the second automatic promotion spot. We'll get that out of the way. But as the season took off, I knew I was wrong instantly, and I didn't even think they'd make the playoffs. But they have made the playoffs. 5th place for the Blades. I'm kind of right, but also kind of wrong. Of course, they made the playoffs. Didn't win the playoffs. Lost in the semi-finals to whoever Luton didn't lose to. I can't remember which leg was which. I think it was Luton and Forest, and then Huddersfield and Sheffield. I can't remember, but either way, they made it to the playoffs. I thought they'd get automatically promoted. I thought they'd come straight back up. They definitely have the squad for it, but they did lose Ramsdale, who was a key player, even though they got relegated in the Premier League the season before. That was a key player for them, and I think that may have hurt. They do have quality in every position. They still have a lot of the team that went down in that Premier League season. I thought they'd come straight back up. I've been proven wrong. If I'd known they'd been in the playoffs, I probably would have predicted them in the playoffs. I would have swapped Sheffield and Bournemouth. And maybe I should have swapped Sheffield and Bournemouth. I think for a while I was contending. The top 4 I've got in my predictions, I was contending with maybe switching them around a bit. I maybe should have done looking back now. But Sheffield finishing 5th. I put them 2nd. 3 places off. No promotion for the Blades like I predicted and expected. Another season in the Championship. But maybe, if they can hold to the players again, we may see Sheffield United back in the Premier League. Stoke City. Now, this is another contentious one. There was some people who tipped Stoke to have a massive season and maybe go back up to the Premier League. And I want them to come back up to the Premier League. I miss having them in the Premier League, to be honest with you. But they were way off the pace this year. It didn't look like even challenging for the playoffs. Didn't even look like challenging for the top half, although they weren't far finishing in the top half, to be honest with you. Stoke City finishing 14th. I predicted them 11th. Mid-table run-of-the-mill season is what I predicted, and the mid-table run-of-the-mill season is what I got. The only difference is I predicted them top half. They finished bottom half. I said 11th. They finished 14th. They definitely do have the players to build into a top half finish. Maybe in the next few seasons, maybe make an assault on playoffs, possibly even promotion, possibly even Premier League again. It's a team that I would like to see back in the Premier League. I remember when they got relegated, I thought, oh, they'll come straight back up. They have the quality, and they were very good in the Premier League when they were in the Premier League. But absolutely not. I was wrong. 3 places off. We move. They're all going to be wrong from now on. We already know I only got 2 right. Swansea City. Now, this was a team that I thought would be a surprise package in the top half of the table. I thought they finished 9th. I didn't think they would get playoffs, but I thought they'd improve on their previous season. And I think they finished 14th in the 2021 season. I could be incorrect. But either way, it's another mid-table season. It's another mid-table team I got wrong. 6 places off this time. If I just swap the top half and the bottom half, I'm probably correct. Probably get every single one of them right, besides maybe Fulham. But in all seriousness, though, I did have some gut feelings at the start. I do remember some gut feelings at the start of the season. Maybe I should move some around. But I stuck with my gut. I stuck with what I said. I put it on the spreadsheet, and I was wrong, of course. 9th, I thought they would maybe cause a few shocks, maybe cause a few upsets, maybe cause some kind of interest. Possibly playoffs. I put them 9th. I thought maybe they'd make an assault on playoffs, and they didn't. They absolutely didn't. They finished 15th, mid-table. Swansea could build on it. They have the talent, they have the money, they could build on it. Whether they do, we'll see. But, of course, they've been in the Premier League before, and they'll want to be back there. Right. Realistically, there is not a single person, this is another one, not a single person who predicted West Brom at top 6. There's not a single person. I can tell you firsthand. If you go look at predictions, There was not a single person who said West Brom are going to finish out of the top 6. I didn't predict them promotion. I'll give myself that. I predicted them to finish third in the playoffs. I predicted it to be a West Brom Bournemouth final. And I think I said Bournemouth would have won the playoffs had Bournemouth been in the playoffs. Obviously they're not. But West Brom would have made the playoff final. They would have had a very strong season. Probably just fallen short, but I don't know what's happened at West Brom, honestly. In fact, I can tell you exactly what's happened. Steve Bruce. I don't know what his tactics are. I don't know what is going on with him, because he did the same thing at Newcastle. He dragged them down into the depths. It took Eddie Howe and a lot of money to help them reach survival. And now he's dragging West Brom down. I think maybe Steve Bruce's managerial days are over. No offence to the man, because he was a world-class centre-back from my favourite club. But maybe he should hang up the managerial boots. West Brom should have been fighting, and for long enough they were fighting for promotion. But a drop-off in form, we've seen them finish 10th place. And I'm not taking this one, because if they kept, I don't know who the manager was at the start of the season, but if they had not brought in Steve Bruce, maybe finished playoffs, maybe even won them. But he's dragged them down into 10th, and the Baggies spend another season in the Championship where maybe they shouldn't be, and in my opinion, definitely shouldn't be. They should be fighting for the top spots in the Championship. They need to get rid of Steve Bruce. And that is my EFL Championship reactions. There are a few I got one place off. There's few I got a lot off, and I apologise for that. For any fans who I underestimated or overestimated, I apologise either way. There's a few in both categories. And in the end, I got 2 out of 24 correct, which isn't bad. To say I don't watch the Championship, I will be paying a lot more attention to it if I can. And I kind of want to see what I will get next year. Hopefully more than 2. I think I can predict Norwich and Burnley will go straight back up. That's probably a certain prediction. I don't know which order, but that's probably a certified prediction right there. Especially if they keep Cornet and Weghorst at Burnley, and if they keep the majority of the Norwich squad they've got now. Norwich are a yo-yo team anyway. That's a guaranteed 1 point. I don't know if it'll be in the right position, but it's a guaranteed 1 point. They'll go back up. But anyway, I'm going to cut it off here because we've been going long enough with these Championship predictions. I hope you guys have enjoyed my ball knowledge being absolutely awful. But I'll see you very, very soon for some more of my reactions. It will be League 1 predictions tomorrow, League 2 predictions the day after, NXT in Your House prediction simulation Saturday, Hell in a Cell predictions Sunday, and then, of course, the new series on Monday, which I'm keeping stum about until it occurs. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.